and welcome back to part 2 of B.R.A.T, the Basic Registered Adult Training for Spiral Scouts International. Today we'll be talking about the protocharter process as well as the registered adult process, which are pretty much the same at this point, as well as the resources that will be at your disposal while you're going through this process. So let's first take a look at the chartering process itself. The length of your process for both going through as a registered adult and chartering depends entirely on you. It really does go at your speed. There's only a couple of steps that are dependent on me, and sometimes I get lagged behind. But most of the time, I'm waiting on you guys to do things. And sometimes I don't know that you're having trouble because I need you to reach out to me and let me know. I try to keep an active tab, but I also don't want to be pestering you for everything. I know you all have busy lives just like I do, so you're going to be taking the lead on this process, and I'm just your guide, as is anybody that helps you at HQ. So, an active leader or volunteer can be through the process in as little as 3 weeks. Please reach out to us. We are a resource if you're struggling. There is a direct number for membership. That's my personal cell phone number in the protocharter packet. And if you ever have any questions, reach out to me at that number. I would put it on here, but with this being a public video, I didn't want my phone number out there for just anybody, for obvious reasons. I just ask that before you call me, please reach out to me with a text with your name and charter number and set up a time with me. I want to make sure that I have all my resources available to me and to be able to see your file so that I can answer your questions. It doesn't do any good to call me if I'm at work, for example, or at a co-op event with my kid. I'm not going to have my computer and I'm not going to be able to best answer your questions. So please reach out to me in text with any questions. If they can't be covered in text, I am happy to set aside some time in my day around your schedule to make sure that you get your questions answered and that you get through this process as quickly as you would like to. I do ask that you give all volunteers 24 to 48 hours to respond, because just like you, we do have our own lives and our own work schedules and children to tend to. If you're here watching this video, you have likely already filled out your forms and received your Spiral Scouts email and gained access to the protocharter team. If you are a PC or a new member in the volunteer, you will be placed in the protocharter team just because it has access to basic information and the protochartering packet, which I should probably put down as also, it basically follows the same thing for what you need to do for your volunteer. With the exception of some things that I have to do on the back on my end. So really it is the same process from your point of view. PCs and volunteers only gain access to the Spiral Scouts International team once they've completed their entire process. So once you are done watching this video, you'll complete the quiz, and then you'll schedule your interview. This can be done by attending the board meeting on Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. The link is on the website. There's a calendar of events on the homepage. If that doesn't work for you, reach out to me at text or use the link in the email you were provided to schedule a time for your interview. And this link is also in the PC handbook, the protocharter handbook. After the interview, you pay for your registrations. We'll talk about that a little bit more later in the training. Payments have to clear, which can take up to 5 business days. And everything is handled on a first-come, first-served basis at the store. I have no control over any of that. I don't even process those orders. My recommendation is always keep your receipt. And as long as I have verification of receipt, I can usually get with somebody very quickly to confirm and get you through to be marked completed. But I don't do the store, so anything that involves money, I can't actually mark you off for. I've got to wait for the store to send me the information. So sometimes that's a short hiccup, but usually not. Just have your receipts ready, and I will help work through that if you run into any problems, which I don't generally expect to happen. The reason why this payment is so important is because it is what initiates your background check. A link should have been provided for you via email and is in the PC handbook to fill out a form, your consent form. You can do this at any point. You could do this right now while you're listening to this video. And at that point, as long as I have that form in there, I can apply for your background check and send you the youth protection training. The background check usually comes back pretty immediately. What often hangs people up at this stage is if they've not completed their consent form and I'm waiting for them to do that, or if they miss the email for the youth protection training, which does have a timeline of 2 weeks on it. If you miss that window, you have to contact me and I have to resend it to you again. If I see that it was really recently missed and I catch it while I'm in there, sometimes I'll resend them out. But if you haven't seen it or missed that window, again, feel free to reach out to me or HQ and we'll get you reset for that and get that sent out. The reason we have you fill out that consent form is so that we don't have your personal information. Only the background check company, who has all of the nice fancy encryptions, has that data. We do this both for your protection and for ours. And once we have that, we can complete the background check and you get the youth protection training. After all that is complete, we add your charter to the MAP page. If you're volunteering, this doesn't apply to you. And then we add you to the Spiral Scouts International team. Having your charter on the map allows other people in your area to find your circle and ask to join it. It can also allow hearts and circles that are near each other to connect. Each listing has your Spiral Scouts email listed. Once you're in the SSI team, all you have to do is make sure you have posted a headshot of yourself and post your introduction into the team. A lot of people miss this step or miss their payments and then go, why am I not chartered? Well, we've got to get this done. Which is why I think it's really, really important that you guys have a firm knowledge of these steps. That's why there is an entire video on the video series on the chartering process, which I will have linked below, as well as putting it in here again. Please keep in mind that at this stage you are not official members of Spiral Scouts International. There's no coverage, no access to leader materials or legal assistance. You can't hold meetings other than planning meetings or order badges or awards, nor can you open a bank account or sign any documents using our name until you're fully chartered. You will receive an email when this is done, and if you have any questions about that, please let me know, and I can check your file. If for some reason you've not received that email, also let me know, and I will figure out how to get that email sent to you. You will have some paperwork that to file as a charter. It's not complicated, I promise. We encourage you to get through the chartering process as quickly as possible. Just because you know what it's like when you stall on a project too long and at some point you forget to come back to it. And then we have people that come back months later that are like, I don't know where I was, I don't know where I'm going. We understand life does get in the way, and so if you do think that your process is going to take longer or you get stalled because you're trying to find members or raise funds, just reach out to us and let us know. We are happy to help. If you think it's going to take longer than the 6 to 8 weeks, please reach out to us. We do have a policy that any PCs that fail to remain in contact for longer than 3 months may be removed from the list and have to start over. We do keep track of payment, so we should be able to find a lot of your information, and I do move people who have not completed the process into an inactive database. I just don't want you to have this hiccup. So this is part of the reason why I recommend just getting it done and moving on as quickly as you can. I get that that isn't always possible. I was one of those people. I got through the first part and I got stalled at my background checks because back then it was a whole different process and whole different story. And I lagged for 3 or 4 months and then picked it back up and had to figure out where I was. I do not recommend that. As somebody who has been on both sides of that issue, it's frustrating for you. I don't care about my frustration, honestly, but I don't want to see any of you frustrated. To keep your process as smooth as possible, this means that we suggest that you work with us to complete this process. And again, if you have any questions, ask me. I can't help if I don't know that you need help, and I'm always happy to help. There's going to be weeks where I'm down or sick and I don't get back to you immediately, but I do attempt within the best of my means to respond to everybody within 48 hours. And as a reminder, charters will only have access to all Spiral Scouts handbooks and documents after they have completed the chartering process and are in the Spiral Scouts International team. So I'm going to very briefly go over the PC handbook. This is a relatively new document that we have recently started developed. It currently contains a list of steps along with the FAQ questions that have been submitted by chartering members just like you. If during your process you find a question that we should add, please email me at membership@spiralscouts.org. Both the email and the number, my direct number, can be found in the PC handbook, as I've mentioned before. And I am attempting to update this book at least once a quarter, though the goal is more frequently as needed. It will also have directions to important documents you'll need to be able to find in teams during your chartering process, both as you participate in the PC team and in the SSI team. This handbook is your guide. We also have a video series that will help you walk through the process. As I mentioned before, that is linked below. Teams is our primary means of communication, aside from email, and this allows you to communicate with other charters around the world, mostly the US and Canada currently, though we have in the past had charters outside of the US and Canada. This is also where all of our documents are housed. There's a files section under General in each team where we house all of your important documents. When you're in the Spiral Scouts International team, that's where the digital version of the handbook currently lives, while we complete the new handbook so that we can get new print versions. We didn't want to print outdated versions of the handbook only to have them not be useful anymore. I do not personally know the ETA on the handbook itself. I do know that the badge team is working on finalizing things for the badges, and that we are in the revision stages. So hopefully that will be relatively soon. And I love the teams because they are a place for you to get to know each other, to share ideas, images. I want to see you all posting the great things you do. I want to learn resources from you all and share my resources. I need to get better at doing that. But I want to see what you're doing. I want to be inspired by the wonderful and diverse different things that all of our scouts and leaders are doing. It makes me excited when I do see posts about those things, or people talking about doing the hike-a-thon, our summer fundraiser. This is also where you find all your required forms and documents, which we'll be talking about in a little bit. And that brings us to the next section, which we'll talk about in the next video. As you can see, in part 3 of our video series, we'll be talking about registrations and leadership roles. I look forward to seeing you back in the next video, and keep trucking along.